Okay, so now I'm going to be reviewing the 10th movie in the Friday the 13th franchise, which is Jason X. And at this point, I think, what year did this come out? It came out 9 years after Jason Goes to Hell. And at this time, they were still trying to get Freddy vs. Jason off the ground. They were trying to, make it into a movie. And, they're like, well, we still haven't came up with a solid idea yet. So we want to keep the franchise going. So what can we do? Okay, we already had the concept of Jason soul body hopping. And that was still based in reality, like in our time. So what can we do that doesn't screw up the timeline? So they're like, oh, we have a great idea. Let's put Jason in space. So that's where this movie kind of fall apart for me, because usually when a franchise sends their character to space, it kind of goes to shit. So, like Leprechaun 4 and Hellraiser 4. So, that's where this one kind of falls for me. Out of the whole series, I would say this is the worst one, and then Jason Goes to Hell, but that's just my opinion. I mean, if you like this movie or Jason Goes to Hell, I don't, I won't criticize you for it. But, yeah, so this one is about this research group. Well, one of the main woman, or, there's this research crew that is trying to track down Jason, and at the beginning of the movie, this group finds Jason, and they're like, we need to capture him and freeze him or something, and experiment on him to see why he's unstoppable, why he keeps killing people. And this other scientist group is led by David Cronenberg. David Cronenberg, he directed The Fly and The Brood and Videodrome, stuff like that. He's like, no, we don't want him for that. We want him for a different reason. And Jason's like chained up on this wall. He's like hooked on the chains. And he wakes up and he kills all these people in the room. And then the woman escapes, and she hides in this cryogenic freezer thing. And Jason stabs her, but it preserves her body. And so it's like years later, and it's like in the future, and I mean that was in the future, but it's like way in the future. This group of scientists go onto this planet, and I don't remember. I guess it is Earth, but it's like desolate and stuff, and it's like they go to like the Camp Crystal Lake area for some reason, and they find the woman's corpse, and then they find the Jason's corpse, both like preserved in this cryogenic frozen this freezer thing. And there's like the stoner dude. He's like messing around with it, and he taps like Jason's arm with a machete, and it falls and cuts his arm off. And then they go back on the ship, and they start unfreeze Jason and the woman. And yeah, they see that the woman has been stabbed, and they're like, oh, we need to fix her up before she dies, and we need to get answers out of her. And there's like this nanotechnology that like crawls up on her body and like re-heals her wounds and stuff. And they're trying to like, get Jason back to life. And she's telling them, no, that's when she finally comes to it. She's like, no, don't bring him back. He's a famous mass murderer. You don't know what he's gonna do. And they bring him back, and it's kind of stupid, like how he comes back to life, because there's like this couple having sex, and for some reason that's what's bringing back to life. And I was like, okay, whatever. So he comes back, and he starts killing all these people on the ship. And then there's like this robot android character, like gonna fight him off. She freaking blows him up, or he gets blown up to bits. Yeah, by her. And he comes back again as Uber Jason, which is the one with the metal mask. Yeah, this one right here, and he's all like basically metal and bulked up, and he's like basically unstoppable. I like the Uber Jason look. I'm like, wow, I never seen Jason like that, so that was pretty cool. But so uh, I guess I'll get into the deaths I like. My favorite death in the movie is there's this one scientist who's in the room with Jason, and she's doing something with a microscope, and there's like this cryogenic stuff right by her, nitrogen or something, and he sticks her face in there, and it freezes her face, and he takes her face and smashes it on the counter, and her face breaks into a million pieces. There's one guy, he gets thrown. It's like when I guess the military people are going after him, and he throws one guy off off of like the bridge, like a walkway, and he falls on top of this like big screw thing, and he slowly starts going down it. There's like one with a video game simulation, and the stoner guy who got his arm cut off at the beginning, well, he got his arm by the nanotechnology. Him and some other guy are playing like a video game. It's kind of like a virtual reality one, but like with holograms and stuff. And Jason comes in and cuts one dude's head off, but of course he's still alive. And he goes like, "Screw this, man, game over." Which I guess that was supposed to be a reference to Aliens. And well, he kills them. I forgot really. I think he cracks down one. He snaps that one dude's neck and like spins his head around. And then this is not really a death, but this Jason, there's like a nerdy guy and one of the women. They're the main girl, I guess. The final girl. They're trying to trick Jason, so they put up this holographic image of Camp Crystal Lake back in the 80s, and it's like these two women. It's a really dumb scene. These two women, and they're like stripping down, and they're naked, and they're like, "Hey, do you want to smoke some pot? Do you want a beer? Do you want to have premarital sex?" And they're like, "We love premarital sex." And it's like, oh my god, they're like, simulations. So Jason, I don't know why this one girl's voice when she's laughing turns into like a man's laugh. But that was kind of weird. But Jason like grabs both of them and puts them like ties them up in a sleeping bag, and it's kind of like reminiscent of the death scene for Part 7, except Jason starts beating them together. Like one's laying on the ground, and he's taking the other one like beating them like that, and then there's one death scene. There's like this one bitchy girl. She's actually another one. She was like having sex with the teacher to get good grades and stuff. I guess it's supposed to be like a college students or something. But she kind of like she makes it near the end of the movie. But like Jason like punches a hole into a wall, and like it starts sucking people out, and she gets sucked out through this hole, but you don't see anything, but there's like a bunch of her, skin and muscle left behind. And then Jason kills like these people in a cockpit, and then so let's see much. I think like the main highlight death was the woman's face being frozen and smashed into pieces. And I'm trying to remember what happened, how it ended. But the main girl, the final girl, and the nerdy guy, they escape with the android's head. And Jason, I remember, he gets blown out into space, and like he's like freaking fall into Earth, and he bursts into flames. And there's like this couple, because the place he's going to is called Earth 2, so I guess Earth 1 is not there anymore. But there's this couple sitting there, and Jason's flying by all burnt up and shit, and they're like, "Wow, honey, did you see that shooting star? Yeah, let's go see where it went." And then, like, you see Jason's mask, like part of his mask, float down into the Uber Jason mask, float down into the bottom of the lake, and then the movie ends. Oh yeah, there's another stupid scene. Like, the professor in this movie is really dumb. Um, he he gets he gives Jason his machete back because they're all like freaking out trying to figure out where the professor went and where Jason went. And then the professor's like over the intercom. He's like, "Don't worry, guys. He just wanted his machete back." And then he died. Yeah, I'm not a fan of this movie at all. Uh, that's probably why I'm rambling about it, because I don't watch it that much. But yeah, it is not that good of a movie. Like, I'm not a big fan of sci-fi, but sci-fi is not that great at all. And you know, it's the early 2000s, so the CGI wasn't really on par. But I don't know, it's something about mixing slasher with science fiction just doesn't work for me. I don't know if they did it with some other movie, but I think this is the only slasher movie I've seen mixed with science fiction, and it was horrible. I don't know, it just doesn't work. You supposedly have all these smart people on a ship, and they make dumb decisions, and it's like, wow, like, they're not really that fucking smart. I don't know, it's just like, and I know, like, you're gonna have a few dumb people, but it seems like everyone on the ship was stupid. But, yeah, anyways, that's my review.